Okay, we have a problem here. I put this manifold together and there seems to be some sort of a small leak right here. Such a big manifold. I'm going to attempt to use a heat gun to remove this piece of 1 inch right here. Seems to be leaking right at this joint. I don't know why. All the connections look like they've been well done, but for some reason there's a leak right there. And just save time and expense on redoing this whole thing. I'm going to attempt to use the heat gun. So originally it was done with wet and dry solvent well pipe cement, and usually sets up quite fast, but we'll see how it goes with the heat gun here. Okay, so I've cut the valve out and just waiting for the water to drain. Got to make sure all the water's drained out, because that's just going to slow down the heating process and we're not going to be able to do it without it. So I've left about 1/2 inch of pipe here, and I'm going to clamp onto that. And it's the trusty Wagner heat gun, Home Depot, 40 bucks. And I heated up a piece of pipe just to see how long it takes to get soft, and it took about 30 seconds, 45 seconds to become quite soft. But I mean, this pipe isn't in a socket, so I assume maybe 1 minute it should get soft. But you know, a $40 heat gun might save a couple hours worth of work to replace all this, just because one joint didn't glue up properly. So once this water is drained, we're going to heat this up. I'm just going to heat that up and take it right out. Okay, looks like our water stopped draining here. So what I'm going to do when I heat up this area here, I'm going to attempt to get my needle nose in there and just give this thing a twist and pull it right out. Okay, let's get going here. Let's heat this thing up. I'm going to count to about 30. Give it a try. Feel it getting soft already. Don't want to burn it. So you want to do just the right temperature, that it doesn't burn, but it's pliable enough that you can pull it right out. Got to get quite far inside. It's a deep socket. You gotta watch out for the fumes coming off too. Okay, that looks pretty soft. Let's give this a try. First attempt. Okay, so let's get started and just twist it. Keep twisting. There you go. Let's take a close look at that. See if I can move the camera in. See inside that pipe. Looks fairly clean. It's still smooth. Take a little primer and some extra glue. I'm gonna put another piece in there, and so here's what we're left with. And how hot is this? You can touch it. Not burning my fingers. It's warm, but it's not hot. So let's put a piece of pipe in there, and hopefully it solves the problem. Okay, I'm going to use some wet and dry pipe cement again. Gray is probably better, but time is an issue here, so I want to be able to turn this on in about 30 minutes, so make sure I get lots of primer on this time. Extra primer. It's our second time here. It's not really much different than actually pulling a joint apart that you just glued, so we want to make sure we start that melting process. Get it as clean as possible in there. Get it nice and clean. And you can see the old residue kind of breaking down a bit. Give it a good scrub. Looks good. Got to keep this primer wet. Make sure we get lots of glue on. Round and round and round. I'm using a class 200 pipe here. It's kind of standard in my industry in this part of Canada. So make sure you get lots of glue in there. Cannot have this problem again, because it's too much work to fix her all up. So there we go. Give it a twist. Make sure it's moved around nicely. Just gonna hold it in place. Hold this for about 20 seconds just to make sure. You can feel it's slightly looser than the original socket because we've removed a bit of material. Okay, that should be good. Just gonna let that set up and I'm gonna get my valve back in place and we should be ready to go. Okay, here we go. The water is now on. You see I have the valve back in place. 245s to get me lined up back to the existing pipe. And you can see it is a perfect joint. No leaking. Didn't have any male adapters, so I had to use a coupling. But so all it cost me was 3 additional fittings. And saved a whole bunch of time and a whole bunch of money on parts. From what I noticed using the heat gun, that the temperature required, if you have a 1200 watt blow dryer, I think you could probably obtain the same temperature. The nice thing about the heat gun is that the heat is more, it's not as dispersed as in a hair dryer. It's more concentrated. Anyway, it worked well for me. I hope it works well for you.